You left your beard oil out in the truck during winter, you threw your beard oil in the refrigerator to try and extend the shelf life, but the refrigerator was a little bit too cold. The question would be, can a beard oil like this or any quality beard oil out there freeze? Yes, of course. You're probably watching this video because this happened to you last night or happened to you today, or you're a subscriber that watches every video and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened to me. The big question is, does it hurt the product? Does becoming frozen or solid change the properties in any negative way? No, not at all. If anything, it's a good way to store it and it's a good way to extend that shelf life. But in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys how to properly bring it back to its state of oil that we need it. I'm also going to tell you why this is happening, and I'm going to add in some interesting tidbits on the topic for companies and consumers. So thank you guys for coming back to another video on this channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Dan C. Bearded. If you could, consider looking at what other videos I have, kind of feeling out the style and vibes of the channel. If it seems like something you would enjoy, I would love it if you subscribe. That'll make a big difference to me. For the subscribers that are returning, you guys are awesome. Thank you for everything. Let's start off with talking about what it's going to look like and then why this is happening. And I want to give you guys something that I think almost all of us can relate to help kind of understand the process. Think about when you are cooking, especially with things that are like grease or fats. Whether you're cooking bacon in a pan or whether you are frying some chicken. My wife Sam literally just made fried chicken the day of filming this video, and it kind of helped me think of this idea here, right? Usually when you're frying, you're going to use a vegetable oil. No different than the oils that we use in here. Or if you're using something like bacon grease or bacon fat when you're cooking bacon, think about something like emu oil or ostrich oil. Those are fats. Same kind of idea here. So what we do is we cook with those oils or we cook with those leftover fats, and then we have like a container that we put it in, a little plastic container, and then we throw it in the freezer. I don't know if that's weird or if anybody else does that, but that's what we do. I'm assuming that's normal. If not, just go ahead and roast me down in the comments. But we put the bacon fat, we put the grease in that container and we freeze it. Think about what that oil and the fat looks like when it is being cooked or when it's at room temperature. It is more of a liquid, right? Once it freezes, it becomes a solid-like state. It's not exactly, it's not like ice where you can't knock on the bacon fat once it freezes to the most part. You can probably get your finger through it a little bit. Well, that is what's going to happen with the beard oils, and it's the same exact reason why. These oils, these fats are going to have a freezing point. At different temperatures, they're going to freeze. Now, for companies, it's pretty simple. They have bottles of different carrier oils, bottles of different fragrances. They'll know at a certain temperature this will freeze. Where it gets a little bit more complicated with a bottle of beard oil, we have several different ingredients in here. When you're talking about fragrances all the way down to the carriers, there can be 20 plus ingredients, and all of them probably have a different freezing point. Some, it's ridiculous and you won't even reach it. So what you're gonna look for is it can be a solid bottle. You can have the whole thing that's gonna freeze. Normally it'll turn into a lighter, kind of milkier consistency color, right? Think about that bacon fat when you put it into the freezer, that grease when you put it into the freezer. But sometimes, and this is when I get hit up a lot, some of the ingredients will not be frozen. They'll be in that oil-like state, and you will have just a couple of them that do freeze. And so what they're gonna do is kind of clump together and give you like a kind of, I don't know, a floaty. I know that sounds terrible, but it is like a floaty that's in there. And I'll get pictures like, hey, Dan, is this normal? Look at this oil. And then in the middle, there'll be this little mass that's kind of just floating there. And I'm like, hey, you live in Michigan in the middle of winter and you took this out of your mailbox. Completely normal. Some of the ingredients froze while the others did not. And again, this is happening because there is a freeze point. Just like other things like metals have melting points, most things have a freeze point as well. Again, nothing to be worried about. It does not change the properties of this oil at all. It is just nature doing its thing. So that makes sense, right? Pretty cool, pretty interesting. But a lot of you are probably gonna ask me, how do I bring it back to its oil-like state so I can use it? The best way, the simplest way, is to simply set this product on a counter in room temperature and walk away. Do absolutely nothing, let it come back on its own, and you will be good to go. That's just gonna take a little bit of time. So if you are crunched for time and you're like, man, I gotta use this oil today for whatever reason, it's your only bottle of beard oil, you got some personal attachment, you got some hot date tonight that really wanted that scent, hey, we can do it. We just wanna make sure we do it the right way. The best way to speed up the process is to put this in warm bath water, or give it a warm water bath. There we go. That's a good way of saying it. And so what you would do is you would take the bottle, I would just put it in like a little bowl, and I would just try to use the bottom. Just kind of swirl it around that warm bath water and just let it do its thing. You don't want hot. You don't really want to be cooking these oils too much, even though they can get up to temperatures. The only issue is once you start heating and then bringing it back down and heating and bring it back down, you can interfere with the fragrance. The scent can lower and kind of speed up that process of dissipating the fragrance or essential oil in there. But some of you are like, well, Dan, what about the label? I have one that goes all the way to the bottom. Valid. Very, very, very valid point that you bring up. Thank you for saying that. What you can do is find a waterproof baggie. Oftentimes it is like freezer bags or something along those lines. Put the product inside the waterproof baggie, seal it up nice and tight, maybe wrap it up a couple times. And then what you're gonna do is then put that product into the warm water bath. Just let it stay there, maybe turn it over a couple of times, and just simply the heat around it is gonna speed it up a little bit and it will bring it back to normal. And you're gonna preserve that beautiful label that the company works so hard on to bring that art to you guys. Note to companies and especially consumers, there are ingredients in beard oils that are heavy in long-chain fatty acids that will expand when frozen, and we love those ingredients. Those are some of the most nourishing ingredients. But because of that idea that they will expand, there should be space between where the oil line is and the top of the bottle. Now, the good news is a traditional 1 ounce glass bottle that we see most companies use has more room in the bottle than 1 fluid ounce. Oftentimes it is 1.2 fluid ounces. Well, then people would say, well, hey, why do I receive beard oils from companies that fill it all the way to the top? Well, a couple of reasons. One, they're probably sick of answering consumers that message them like, hey man, why isn't my bottle all the way full? You have a 1 fluid ounce product in front of you. Well, it's not all the way to the top. Well, the bottle's bigger than that. Well, I got it from these other companies that filled it to the top. So why do some companies fill it all the way up? Well, it's for one, that reason. But number two, it's because they're like, hey, this is only gonna cost me a few cents more to put extra product in there and make people happy and make it look good. Let me just throw a little bit in there. Don't. You can run into an issue. If you've had leaking products in the winter, it's probably because it froze, expanded, and then came back down to room temperature again. That can cause some major problems. So companies, don't give in to those complaints. Consumers, understand you are getting 1 fluid ounce, even when it's not all the way up to the tippity top, and it is for a good reason. Let's wrap it up here. First, if you could, leave a comment down below. Have you ever had any beard products freeze? Was it fully solid? Was it semi-solid? Was it something you were worried about? Did you reach out and message me about it? Did you message the company? I want to hear about your guys' experience. Are you in the middle of Arizona or Texas and this would never be a problem in a million years? I want to hear from you guys and your thoughts on this. And please, do you have any questions? Is there something I said that was not clear that you would like an explanation on? Do you have any tidbits to add into the video? That is always welcome. Thank you guys for watching these videos. I love doing this and you are amazing. One more time, Dan C. Bearded. Stay bearded and stay positive.